What's happening, all? Welcome to another episode of Straight Shootin' alongside AJ Riley. I'm Matt Basson. Before we get into everything, got to remind you guys to like and subscribe everywhere you can find us. The Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, full episodes on YouTube, as well as DetroitSportsNation.com. AJ, our Tigers did not lose the series this weekend. Thank you, Rainout. The Guardians took Game 1 on Friday. We took Game 3 on Sunday. Game 2 will be played again at another date and time. But we didn't lose the series.
No, we didn't. And truthfully, watching that game Friday night, there's no reason we should have lost that game either. And it's starting to build in me a theory of how unlucky this team is. And I'm not trying to blow smoke. Like, they have not performed and they have not been hitting for power, as evidenced by their isolated power statistic on Baseball Reference is a putrid .95, like .095. It's terrible. It takes into account like all your extra base hits is what that statistic does, and it's terrible as a team. So there's definitely some like bad production, but you also have to look at this team and go, man, they are incredibly unlucky. Incredibly unlucky. And my case in point is this. Friday night I'm watching the game. Yeah, guys on second and third, one out. Scooble is cruising on the defensive side of the ball, but on the offensive side of the ball, you've actually got something cooking. Guys on second and third, one out. Jonathan Scope up to bat, hits a seed right at the third baseman who's standing on third base. Doubled him up. And I was just like, man, that is just incredibly unlucky. If you dive into the numbers a little bit, the team as a whole has a hard hit rate of about 35%, which is not great. Their batting average on balls in play, though, is about a .279, which is okay. A little bit unlucky, but they need to hit the ball harder. And I think that's proved by the fact that they are not hitting for extra bases. Add to the unluckiness. They have had all 5 starters in their rotation down on injury now. Eduardo Rodriguez, Casey Mize, Matt Manning, Michael Pineda. Yep. It's if you toe the rubber at Detroit, at Comerica Park, you are going down with an injury. And it's unlucky.
Yeah. Very much so. I mean, you left out the biggest one with Scooball taking a shot right back at him when he's dealing. Like, it's absolutely unlucky. And I mean, it definitely plays a bit of a factor into this Tigers team, because how else do you explain the fact that there are literally 9 teams in baseball that have allowed fewer runs than the Detroit Tigers? That's it. 9 teams. So you figure the Tigers would be in the top 2 in the division with numbers like that. But just like you said before, with the other side, there is not a single team in baseball that has a worse offense than the Detroit Tigers, with 110 runs scored, the worst by a mile, including the Cincinnati Reds. So it's bad offense, and we've talked about this, the plate appearances and the lack of hard hit balls and the methodology of how they're coming to the plate in the first place, and just lack of patience, lack of production, leaving runners in scoring position like crazy. It's just a mix of everything bad, including luck.
And there was a great article put out by Shea Brophy on Detroit Sports Nation, and he does this every week, a week in review, like Detroit Tigers by the numbers. And the numbers are brutal when you look at what they did last week. I encourage you to go and look at that article, because, to be honest with you, I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but like Javy was only 3 for 19 last week. Not great, not terrible. A little bit better than the 200 that he was hitting, but it's just entering the game Monday night with the Twins. They were at 40 games. And the old adage from the great and beloved Sparky Anderson is you can tell what a team is after their first 40 games. And as much as I love Sparky Anderson, I'm going to disagree with that a little bit as far as this team is concerned. Because I take the Tommy Lasorda approach, which is if you break the season down by thirds, 54 games, you're going to lose 54 games. You're going to win 54 games. And what makes you a good team or a bad team is what you do with the middle third of those 54 games. I don't think 40 games is a large enough sample size. And at some point, the luck has got to turn around. I mean, for crying out loud, we make a trade for Austin Meadows, and the man goes down with vertigo and is on the 10-day IL, and now there's reports coming out that they're very concerned about his health, and that's not Austin Meadows' fault. I wish him the speediest of recoveries. I hope that he's well because our lineup is better when he's in it. And so everybody wants to jump off the bandwagon, and I'm not like hitting the emergency brake at this point with this team. It's one of those things that we have to continue to be patient because yes, they should be better than what their record indicates right now, but they are also a team that has dealt significantly with significant injuries to some of the most important people in their lineup and on their team. Mm-hmm. So let's see what happens in Minnesota. Let's see what happens with the Guardians when they come to Comerica Park this weekend, and then they take on Minnesota again at Comerica Park next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So this next stretch of games is going to be a very good indication of where they're going to line up in the Central. And truth be told, I got my fingers crossed a little bit that the ship gets...
Obviously, we all have our fingers crossed that we hope the ship gets righted. But, these next 10 games you're talking about with 2 series against the Twins and 1 against the Guardians, that's almost to 54 games,
It
AJ.
will be.
You're talking about the 54 games. You don't like the 40-game one. Well, it's only 14 games more. And in these next 10 games, 2 series against the Twins and 1 against the Guardians, are you really expecting more than 3 wins?
Yes.
You are.
I am. But I'm also overly optimistic here. Because I understand, baseball is a roller coaster of a season. And we can't get any lower than we've been. At some point, it has to turn around. And like I always do with Michigan football, I always am waiting for the other shoe to drop with the Tigers in a positive way. And so I'm hoping that other shoe drops and starts to right the ship. Do I have any empirical evidence that they're going to turn things around? No, just a hope and a prayer. Just a hope and a prayer, man. That's it.
All right. I'm looking up the 2003 Detroit Tigers.
Don't do it. Don't do it to yourself.
All right. The worst team. No, I'm doing it because I want to find out if there was anyone on that team that hit 300 because there's nobody on this team hitting 300 right now. That's how bad this team has been. Every single player has been terrible in the lineup.
I've already addressed
every single one. And I can't think of a team where every single person couldn't get a bat on the ball. Not one player who can confidently get a bat, including Miguel Cabrera, who has shown signs of being himself at times, but for the most part has not.
Well, here, while you're looking that up,
Javy Baez has not done it yet either.
Yes, but while you're looking that up, let me explain something that happened yesterday or on Sunday that is, I think, a good sign.
Damn it!
What? Who hit 300 in the 2?
No one hit 300. Nope, the closest I'm seeing is 289, and that was Alex Sanchez.
Okay, this team is not that team.
Oh, wait, nope. Yep.
This team is not that team.
Nope, 297. Dimitri Young. Dimitri Young coming in hot with almost 300.
Okay. Anyway, one of the things that I've noticed with Javy over these first 40 games is he is spinning himself into the ground, which we knew he was a free swinger to begin with, but his timing has been terrible. He's been way out in front of balls, rolling over, grounding out a lot. Not getting the ball in the air. It's been bad. That one swing on Sunday where he hit a home run on a missile to right center field is a good sign. Because every time we coach players or talk about players that are rolling over and their timing is off, we always tell him, let the ball travel. Let the ball travel. Force yourself to drive it to that right center field gap. And that pitch was not necessarily an outside pitch. It was more of a, not straight down the middle, like it was a good swing and a good hit. Him letting the ball travel and not trying to kill the ball so far out in front of home plate is going to do him wonders moving forward. And I hope that when he made contact with that ball on Sunday, he was like, click, and he's working out that timing. And the other thing with Javy is this. We knew what he was when we signed him. He's going to make great defensive plays. He's going to turn some routine plays more interesting than they need to be. And he's a free swinger. But the one thing about Javy that we have not seen in his career, and it's kind of happening right now, is he's truly never been a leader of a team. And when we signed him this offseason and gave him the dollars that we gave him, we made him the de facto leader of a team. That's not his role. He's an energy guy. He's an up, he's a down. He's not a steady, consistent guy. For him to be as successful as we need him to be, he needs his Anthony Rizzo, his Chris Bryant around him that are the leaders of the team so he can just go out there and play free. And right now, it just looks like he has so much pressure on himself to perform and to lead that he's not handling it well. And so hopefully, you would hope that at some point, somebody would get a hold of him and just be like, listen, man, just play ball. Just play ball. It's what they all need to do. They're all trying way too hard.
That's what they all need to do.
They're all just like pressing. Everybody's trying to hit the ball at the ballpark. We've talked about it before. Take the Chipper Jones approach and just try to hit the ball as hard as you can through the wall. Through the wall. Now, I'll tell you one person that I'm impressed with, and you're going to laugh at me, but Jeimer Candelario, man. That guy, the way that he has been approaching his at-bats and drawing walks and getting 8, 9, 10 pitches per at-bat, I know the average is not there. I know the power is not there. But his approach is what needs to be rubbing off on everybody else. Because, man, Friday night, I was, like, super impressed with the way that he handled the pitching staff of the Cleveland Indians. He just was taking balls left, fouling them off, getting deep into counts. Just a fantastic approach. And we need more of that because we're obviously striking out way too much and not walking nearly.
Yeah. That is absolutely an understatement.
It is.
But I appreciate the plus side of Candelario. We've had this conversation plenty of times. I appreciate patience at the plate and making the pitcher work for it. So that side of it, yeah. The batting average, I could do with another 80 points.
Well, yeah.
To it. But
for any of them, you could deal that. I just can't see a summer where it's this bad. I can't. I'm not going to let myself believe that it's going to be this bad all summer long. I'm not going to, and maybe I'll eat my words come August, but this team is not a 90-loss team. It's not. Can't be.
I mean, so what do you do if it is?
Oh, man. What you do is you rethink the way that you've built this team. You've got a ton of arms. So maybe you ship some of those younger arms off for some people that could actually hit the ball.
Might work.
Well,
if anyone wants to come to Detroit.
It doesn't matter. I mean, Javy wanted to.
Yeah.
Listen, when people get to Detroit,
I'm so disappointed in this team. I had so much hope in this team this year. Not giant, ridiculous, oh my God, we're into the World Series hope. No, improvement hope. Hope that we were going to see a good, competent ball club this year that should be above 500.
I bet they're closer to 500 this year than you think.
In AJ Hinch.
I bet they end the season.
As of right now, or at the end of the year? End of the season.
We know what they are right now, but I bet they end the season close to or at maybe a game above 500, which would take miracle baseball from here on out. But I'm telling you, it's not a 90-loss team.
But that's the thing, is that it won't take miracle baseball because our pitching staff has kept us in games. So if the hitting can get going, again, 9 teams, that's it. 9 teams in all of baseball have allowed less runs than the Detroit Tigers.
Mm-hmm.
So you have half the game right there. It's just the fact that you are literally the worst offense in all of baseball right now. So obviously your team is not going to be doing well, and the fact that we don't have the worst record in all of baseball is because we've allowed so few runs.
True.
In general.
100%.
So it's the only reason that we are not more embarrassing than the Cincinnati Reds.
Well,
who have gotten a lot better since their horrible start, as far as record at least.
I mean,
so
it's got to get better. It's got to get
something's
better.
got to change. It's got to get better. It can't get worse.
No.
It really can't get worse. I don't see how it's possible for this team to be worse. You could literally have Javy and Miggy and Torkelson all get injured and have AAA kids taking their spots. It still couldn't be that much worse.
I wouldn't think so.
All right, let's move on. The hot topic in baseball these last couple days, a little bit of a verbal spat between Tim Anderson and Josh Donaldson. Yeah, your look, that's my head thinking about this whole situation. I literally don't even know what to make of this situation, because if what Donaldson says is true, then it's a whole bunch of nothing. But if it's not, he said, if none of this stuff about the Sports Illustrated and in 2019 that Anderson said he was going to be the next Jackie Robinson, he's bringing that excitement back to baseball and all that stuff, if that's what this is based off of, then what's the big deal? But by the way Anderson reacted, and the fact that it seems like it's pretty well known that Anderson does not like Donaldson, a lot of people do not like Donaldson in the game of baseball. Yeah. So why would you have an inside joke with someone that you don't really get along with, unless it's some sort of competitive rivalry thing that, that I can understand a little bit. But I don't know what to make of this because I don't know what's real.
Yeah, and that's the tough thing about a situation like this, right? Is you don't know what's real. And that competitive rivalry, there needs to be a mutual respect, but if that mutual respect is not there, then comments like that should not be made. And it's really hard to determine. I really truthfully think a few years ago we had a situation with Adam Jones at Fenway Park. Do you remember that? And Curt Schilling basically told him to shut up, right? Mm-hmm. To me, I think that this is a little bit different of a situation because that was Adam Jones, his word, and then Curt getting in the middle of it. Let's start with Tim Anderson. First of all, I can't stand the guy, but I cannot hate the way that he plays baseball. Man, I love watching him play. And I probably can't stand him because he's a Chicago White Sox.
Fair.
But I love the way that man plays baseball. I literally was looking up his stats, trying to disprove this whole Jackie Robinson thing. Dude, you're not comparable. And I could not find a flaw. His defense is a little shaky. But I'm and then I watched the game last night, and he hits a 3-run jack in Yankee Stadium, and I'm man, okay. I really cannot hate you. I can't. I want to dislike you, but I can't because I love the way that you play baseball. Now, do I think that his comment about Jackie Robinson may be a little bit off base?
I mean, what do you expect him to be? It's like Kobe coming in and saying he wants to be better than. Are you crazy for saying it? Sure, you're crazy for saying it, but that's a great goal to achieve and try to achieve.
It is.
So,
it is, and
why not?
Yeah, I don't necessarily have a problem with it. It just seemed. I don't know. When I first heard the statement, I was like, Man, I don't know about that. That's really a
I don't know why he wouldn't have said say
right.
Griffey, something like that, like someone a little bit more modern that you were saying that brought that excitement to baseball, because Griffey brought that
Right.
excitement to baseball. Obviously, Jackie did too, but it was a whole different situation.
Entirely,
That
like
Jackie brought a lot more because the whole world was different back then.
entirely different,
So
and that's
I get that part of it. Like, why not say someone a little bit more modern that brought excitement to the
and
game?
maybe that's where I kind of been. Man, I don't know, anybody comparing themselves to Jackie Robinson to me is like Jackie's in a different stratosphere for me. You know what I mean? Like, so maybe that's where I'm like, man, I just don't like that comp, and I wish you would have, you said, chosen a Griffey. Maybe more modern, more relevant. But let's go to Donaldson, right? Like, you're not a beloved person for whatever reason. Like, you're not. I mean, you're not. And I feel like it's okay if you have some kind of relationship with the person that you're making that comment to. And even if you're saying it in a trash talk competitive rivalry way, there needs to be a mutual respect of that competitive rivalry, or else you are entirely off base. And my entire thought process when it comes to this is, what was the purpose of you saying that? Like, what were you trying to accomplish?
I got nothing.
Right.
I literally have nothing because I don't know what he was trying to accomplish. And look, I'm going to catch flack for this also, I'm sure. But I also don't know how it's racist. I don't understand what saying, hey, Jackie, to him when he gets around to first base. And then when he comes around again later, you say it a second time to him, hey, Jackie. Like, I get you goading him. But I don't understand how it's racist.
I also am a firm believer it's not necessarily what you say, but it's how you say it. And we don't know the tone with which it was said.
Right. Context
matters 100% of the time.
Matters.
I think inherently it could be seen as racist, but I tend to agree with you. Like, there's a lot of other things that he could have said that would have been much more overtly racist. But
oh, absolutely.
But
things that would be blatantly not like.
It's really hard, and I don't want to dig a hole that we can't get out of here. But
no, yeah, I'm not saying. Here's the thing: I'm not saying it's not
right.
I'm saying, from an outsider looking in, and an outsider in every shape and form in this position, I am not a professional athlete. I am not a professional baseball player. I am not black. Mm-hmm. So, from every single way, I am an outsider right now in this situation.
And just looking at
I'm
it,
saying,
yeah.
I don't understand. Yes. Look, I'm Jewish. If someone came up to me and, went for the traditional Jewish last name or something like that, I could understand it. But if I was playing baseball and if I was a pitcher and someone decided to, call me by the only famous Jewish pitcher in baseball history, and someone saw me and said, "Hey, Sandy," I don't know how that's anti-Semitic.
It just depends, I think.
I'm missing
on the tone.
It's the context that I'm missing. It's the tone and the background. I don't know for sure the background of these two players regarding each other and their relationship. Yeah. And so, to me right now, I'm not saying it's not. I'm saying I don't know how it is.
And I think that.
But clearly,
no, and it continues to go back to, if you don't have that type of relationship, and Tim Anderson making that comment, sure, has probably invited some kind of talk in those regards. Not the racist regards, but, like, if somebody calls him Jackie, I mean, he called himself Jackie first. But, at the same time, if he's like, Jackie, or like some kind of like tone that's just off color, I could see why Anderson reacted the way that he did. And so I think Donaldson would have served himself better by just keeping his mouth shut. I mean, because
as a lot of players.
Well, yeah, 100% of the time. But to use your example, right? If somebody were to call you, "Hey, Sandy," right? What are they drawing attention to?
My amazing pitching ability, clearly.
Yeah, maybe, but they're singling you out. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't smell right. Is the whole context of it? Not knowing the context of it on the outside looking in, as you so eloquently put, it just doesn't seem necessary. And for as much as I can't stand Tim Anderson because he plays on the south side of Chicago, I really respect his game a lot more than I respect Josh Donaldson's game. Mm-hmm. So if I had to pick a corner on this one, I probably would side with old Timmy over there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna side with, no matter what was behind the needling, I'm not gonna side with an instigator anyway.
For sure.
Usually, I mean,
sometimes.
Most of the time, there's rare occasions where I'm going to side with the instigator. But in this situation, I just don't see the point of it. If you want to give the guy crap for something, I mean, I guess you can find something else to give him crap about that couldn't be misconstrued as racist or properly construed as racist, depending on what actually ends up happening in this situation. But I'm not going to side with Donaldson. That's for sure. That's just, I'm still just confused in general by this whole scenario. It just doesn't make sense.
It just doesn't have a place in the game. So it's like unnecessary, entirely unnecessary.
No, I get it. Just, I don't know.
I don't either.
I'm looking forward to whatever they discover behind this whole thing. I want to find out, because right now what I've got right now is a third of a puzzle, and I can't even figure out what this puzzle is supposed to be. All right. Let's have a little more fun. This past weekend, we had the 2022 PGA Championship at Southern Hills in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And when we talked before this championship, we had talked mostly about Tiger Woods and his situation, and is he going to make the weekend? He made the weekend.
Barely.
By the skin of his teeth. Went from the late, so the way it works for Thursday and Friday is you're going to get both elements. So if you teed off in the morning on one day, you're teeing off in the afternoon the other day, just so that you get a fairness for both sides. And then after that, it becomes what your score is for when you tee off for the weekend. So Tiger teed off in the morning on Thursday, made it the afternoon on Friday. Didn't play well on Thursday, played a little better on Friday, made the cut by the skin of his teeth, which means you are now teeing off in the morning on Saturday, because you are one of the worst players left in the field, according to your score. This is a man 18 months after a horrific car accident, completely destroyed his leg, almost lost the leg, thankfully kept the leg, and has worked his way back to being able to compete, quote unquote, on the PGA Tour. AJ, I was really excited when the Masters came around. I was less excited for the PGA Championship, but I was glad that he was going to be in the field. I am now at the point, after watching this poor man trying to walk a course called Southern Hills, where the very first hole is a tee shot and then a mountain you have to walk down to get to the fairway, or at least it feels that way when you are hobbling on a recently repaired, shattered leg. I am at the point where I don't want to see Tiger Woods in the field again until he can actually compete and not be in so much pain.
I don't know if we'll see that. And here's the thing, Matt. Like, I was watching on Saturday, and clearly he's in pain. I'm afraid for Tiger that he's going to continue to try to compete when he's not 100% and continue to just slip farther and farther into irrelevancy. And I really don't want to see that. You know what I mean? So, they were talking after, I think it was Saturday night. Yeah, it was Saturday night, because it was the end of round 3. How it takes him, it's 12, 13-hour days for him because it takes so long to get his body warmed up. And then, truthfully, I mean, we had a Charles Dickens kind of PGA Championship. It was the best of times Thursday and Friday. It was the worst of times Saturday and Sunday, because the weather shifted and the wind shifted and it got colder and it got windier on Saturday and Sunday. And I mean, I don't have any of the significant injuries that Tiger has with the fusions in his back and the repaired leg and all those things, but I can't imagine that the chilly weather made that feel good.
No, definitely not.
To the point that he withdrew after the third round, which I don't blame him for withdrawing after the third round.
No. I'm glad
he did too, because you don't.
He's gonna hurt
exactly.
himself.
I'm with you on this. So I think that it's imperative that he maybe goes to some of these courses in his off time to test whether he is able to walk a full 18 for 3-4 days, and then determine whether he's going to play in the tournament or not. Because I don't want to see him keep starting and stopping. I don't want to see him get injured anymore, and I don't want to see him fade into irrelevancy. I want him to remain the legend that he is in my mind.
Right. This is part of what makes you a legend, is your never say die attitude.
It is.
And Tiger fully believes that he can come back and compete on the PGA Tour. Right now, he's not. He's making the cut. I guess that's competing. But once he's made the cut, he is now one of the last names on the list that you are reading as far as score. That's not Tiger Woods competing. And the U.S. Open's in a month. It's in Brookline, Massachusetts. It's the greatest game ever played. That movie with Shia LaBeouf and them. That's where this course. That's where they're.
That's
playing.
one of my
it's not
favorite
anything
movies.
That has significance.
I love that movie.
So the course itself, though, to Tiger Woods, not anything that has any real significance. Not like, obviously, the Masters and Augusta National. Not like Southern Hills, where Tiger has won the PGA. This isn't a major U.S. Open course like Pebble Beach or something like that for Tiger. The Open Championship is a different story. That's a month later. I would prefer him to skip the U.S. Open altogether. Keep rehabbing and keep working on getting that leg healthy. If you are determined to keep playing in majors and you're not going to just take the rest of the year off, I would prefer him to take the next month off and have that extra month to prepare for the Open Championship at what is it? Is it the old course, right?
I don't think so.
Or is it just St. Andrews? It's 100. It's a big. I'm blanking now. All
That's okay.
But I would prefer that.
I remember it didn't sound like on the broadcast.
more
I know they mentioned it, and I can't remember either. But it didn't sound like it was the old course. It didn't even sound like it was at St. Andrews. They're in Ireland somewhere. It's going to drive us nuts, so go ahead and look it up. But while you're talking about that, while you're looking that up, let's talk about Justin Thomas, right? Because if I'm not mistaken, did you not kind of peg him as...
Yep, St. Andrews.
Oh, it is at St. Andrews. Okay.
It's at St. Andrews, yeah.
He's going to go to Ireland. I mean, it's Scotland. He's going to go to Scotland, and he's going to play at St. Andrews.
Yeah.
Because it won't go back to St. Andrews for another 4 years, and he'll be 50 at that point, won't he?
Skip the U.S.
Yeah, if you're Tiger Woods, you
take that time,
to
heal some more. You have to.
You have to.
You absolutely have to. Listen to your people. Listen to the rehabbers, all the doctors, everyone you're working with, your team that you love to tout so much nowadays. Listen to them, and don't push yourself to where you are going to take yourself out completely. Because none of us want that.
But, man, we had a pretty exciting finish.
All right. On to the good side.
We go.
We had a ridiculous finish, thanks in large part to Pereira having a Phil Mickelson at Winged Foot meltdown on 18. AJ, if I'm ever leading a tournament and I'm in the final group and I am leading by one shot on 18 and I pull out my driver,
break it.
You punch me in the face.
No, take it out of your.
No, don't break the driver. No, don't break the driver because I got to pay for that. Just punch me in the face. I'll get the message and I'll put it back in the bag and I will grab a 5-wood. All right. Because, damn it. What are you doing, Pereira? You have this well in hand. It's not an easy hole. It's not an easy hole. I get that. 18 is a hard hole. But all you got to do is par it. All you got to do is par it, and you have length. You are a PGA professional. You can hit a 7-iron from 200 yards out. It's not that big of a deal for you guys like it is for us where I got to pull, a 4-iron out or something like that. You have this ability. So just put yourself in a safe spot in the middle of the fairway. And this man just puts a swing on that looks like it has the Charles Barkley hitch in it.
I saw that. Oh, my goodness.
And his follow-through, he went from a golf swing in his takeaway to a baseball swing in his follow-through.
It was...
And that ball went right in the water.
Like you said, you have to have a fairway finder. That's it. Get in the short grass. If you're 250 yards back, guess what? Get it up close to the green, chip up, tap in for par, and call it a day. But man, oh man, why his caddy? I'm with you. Let him pull that big dog out of the bag and swing away is beyond me. But it led to a 3-hole playoff with Justin Thomas and Zalatoris,
which I'm a big fan of.
I am too.
I like the aggregate playoff.
Yeah.
If you're not going to give me a whole day of 18, another 18 like the U.S. Open, give me the aggregate and then sudden death if you need it.
The 3-hole playoff is an incredible addition. Like you said, I much prefer the full 18 a la Rocco Mediate and Tiger Woods back in, 2008, I think it was. Yeah, that's always more fun. But these 1-hole, I mean, anybody can hit a bad tee shot and then they're done. Mm-hmm. Give me 3 holes.
Give them a chance.
Give them a chance.
Yep.
So it was great. And did you pick Justin Thomas when we talked last week?
He was one of the guys I named that I had a good feeling about. What didn't feel that good about it after Saturday, but I had a good feeling about before the actual PGA Championship took off.
I'll tell you what, man. I was feeling real good after Thursday seeing Rory up there. And then he had trouble on the weekend. But that...
After Friday, too.
I'm telling you, man, that was the 6th hole, par 3, 200 and... I think it was 208 yards, but it was like a miserable tee shot. Just, that looks so brutal. I was so glad I was not out there playing. That would have been just disgusting. But congratulations to JT. A phenomenal come-from-behind win. I think it's one of the largest comeback wins in PGA Championship history.
It is the
third largest. Yeah, one of.
Yep. Tied for the third largest. He was 7 shots behind going into the day. He actually was 8 shots behind at one point in the day. But I don't know if they count that as part of the comeback or not. But yeah, it is for the third largest comeback in major championship history. It's the first overtime, first playoff in a major since the 2017 Masters when Sergio beat Justin Rose.
Talk about good versus evil in that.
You know
one.
what's weird to me? It's right. This is only his second major. It's funny because I think of the storm of young players that happened after Tiger's injury and controversial whole situation. And Rory was the first one, and Rory went boom, 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 boom. Rory won a bunch of majors. And then all of a sudden there was Dustin Johnson, there was Jordan Spieth, there was Justin Thomas, there was the Morikawa, there was these young bloods that came in and they started knocking down all these majors. And I don't know, somehow lost in the shuffle, I thought Justin Thomas already had 2 or 3. I thought he was already a multi-time, major winner. So when he wins it, and then like for his second major, I was like, his second.
Yeah,
what?
right.
I thought he already had 3 or 4 of these. But for it to be a PGA Championship again, and for Justin Thomas, his father is a PGA teaching pro. So we talked about this when we were talking about the history of the golf thing. Arnold Palmer and his dad being a PGA pro. So I'm sure there's some extra special significance for Justin being involved in this one. Bones, Phil's former caddy, getting to be on the bag and winning another major. It was a heck of a playoff too. Will Zalatoris, great young player, and had a great interview afterwards where he feels like he's close and his time will come, and I hope it does, because he is close and he's right there and he's playing great golf, and he didn't play poorly in the playoffs. Just Justin Thomas took it. He just absolutely took it with those first 2 holes, and now you got to scramble to find a way to birdie the 18th hole, which is nigh on impossible.
Right. Yeah, it's exciting. Like I said, like Wednesday, I think it was, or Thursday when we published a show, the PGA Championship is not one of my favorite tournaments. I don't know why.
No. I mean, we can be honest. It's the 4th of the 4 majors
for a reason, and so I'm more excited about the U.S. Open coming in a month, and especially since it's being played at the course of The Greatest Game, which is one of my favorite movies. That and Legend of Bagger Vance. I think, you know what, Matt? We need to do another DSN at the movies, and we need to do golf movies. And we need to talk about
golf. There aren't that many. There's
enough to get a show out of Legend of Bagger Vance.
We got the 2 you just named. Yes, we got those 2. Caddyshack.
Tin Cup.
The
greatest game ever played.
That's 4.
Happy Gilmore. Come on, man.
Happy Gilmore.
That's 5 right there. That's a show in and of itself. There we go. That's next. On tap for the next straight shooting will be DSN at the movies, golf movies. You heard it here first.
We got to find a few more.
All right, it's time to go. We're getting crazy.
Yep. All right, we've ran our gamut for this show. So thank you for hanging out with us on Straight Shootin'. He's AJ Riley. I'm Matt Basson. We'll see you guys again real soon. Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on the way. Yeah. You know I be on the way.